displaying the glory of God's creation by exploring America one park at a time. Welcome to Parking Full Time with Big Dave, the parks professor. First hole. The par and distance are at the top of the screen. This hole starts in a mowed grass area right beside the parking lot, and we're heading downhill. We're going to cross the entrance road right down here, and then we're going to plunge steeply down into a densely wooded ravine. When you're working your way down this hill, you may kind of wonder what you've gotten yourself into, but this hole actually has some of the steepest elevation of any hole on the course, and this is a very memorable opening throw. It's one of the best throws on this course. I do want to welcome you back to Parking Full Time. I am Big Dave, the parks professor. Once we get down into the ravine, we now have a couple of small creeks to deal with, and there are actually two baskets on this hole. We just passed the short basket, and we are going to walk back here to the long basket. The creeks don't have enough water to cause any serious problems in terms of losing your disc or anything like that, but these woods, on the other hand, are very dense, and especially coming down from as high of an elevation as you started at, you could definitely lose a disc throwing into these woods here. There's the first basket, and there's the view back to the tee. Hole number 2 is shorter and flatter, but it's still really tight, and it plays back across the creek that you played across on the first hole. I should say a word about the three distances I'm giving you at the top of the screen. Most holes on this course have 3 tees. They are blue, white, and green, in that order from back to front, and those are the 3 distances that I'm giving you at the top of the screen. Here's the basket. It's up here kind of on the side of the hill, and right at the edge of the woods, but this is a very densely wooded hole. The third hole is the flattest hole yet, but it's a very scenic hole. It plays parallel to this little creek here on the left, and that's the same creek that you have crossed twice already, once on the first hole and again on the second hole. And in fact, we're going to cross that creek several more times as we work our way around the course. The basket is up here to the right on kind of the side of the hill, and it's really a pretty challenging basket location. There's a steep drop off there to the left, and there's definitely the slope of the hill that you have to deal with, in addition to all of the trees. There's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. The fourth hole plays back across the same ravine and creek that we've played across a couple of times now, and we'll play across a couple more times. The fairway here is a little wider than on some of the previous holes, and it's a good idea for a hole. All of these holes are good holes, but when you see the same idea 4 or 5 times in the front 9, then that idea gets a little bit repetitive. The basket's up here. It's got some medium-sized trees around the basket. The next 2 holes are the only 2 truly open holes on this course. I wouldn't say they're 2 of my favorite holes, but it is nice to get out of the woods and get away from that creek for a couple of holes. This hole is also a dogleg left, but there's plenty of room to maneuver a disc around the dogleg. And the basket is up here on the left side of this wide open field. There is some dense grass on the hillside to the left, but that's the only real obstacle on this hole. The 6th tee, by the way, is up on top of the hill. It's up the path you see behind the basket here. There's the 5th basket, and there's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. The 6th tee is about 20 feet above the fairway, which is literally as wide as a soccer field, so you may as well just rear back and let one rip. This is really your only chance on this course to really do that. As we walk up to the basket, there's not much to see as we cross this field, so let me take a minute to talk about the fact that this course is located at Dacusville Elementary School. Normally, I don't do walkabouts of school courses. Number 1, I respect the privacy of the students that go to school here. And number 2, school courses typically just aren't that great of courses to walk about. But I made an exception here. Number 1, this course is mostly in the woods. You don't really see any of the places where students would normally be on this video, at least not many of them. And number 2, this actually is a really nice course. This is one of the better school courses I think that I am familiar with. I actually came here and captured this video on Thanksgiving Day, and it was a chilly day with temperatures in the low to mid 50s when I came here. And that said, because this is a school course, you cannot play here when school is in session. You have to come here on a weekend or a holiday to play here, but it is worth coming to play here then. Now the 6th basket is across the school road, and it's back here in the woods. This hole was actually recently lengthened, and they're getting ready to add another 9 holes in the woods behind this basket. So this 18-hole course is about to become a 27-hole course, and that'll make what is already a pretty good course even better. We're back in the woods on the 7th hole, and in fact the 7th tee is near the 5th tee, so you have to walk to the right from the 6th basket and go back across the road and back into the woods to get to this tee. And this hole is another hole that plays across the same creek we played across several times now. It's another fairly long walk to the 8th tee. The 8th tee is back down by the creek and several hundred feet upstream. The 8th hole is a gradually uphill and fairly tight and heavily wooded hole. The creek is downhill to the left, and while this definitely isn't my favorite hole, it is kind of nice to have a hole that doesn't involve the creek. I do want to take this opportunity to thank you for watching. Parking full-time would not be anything without the people who watch. I realize that every day, and I thank you every day. The 3 tees on this course give you the ability to adjust the level of difficulty for your level of play. From the back tees, this is a really tough course with quite a bit of distance and accuracy needed. From the front tees, this is almost a beginner/putter park. The 9th hole is of course the final hole on the front 9. It's yet another cross the ravine and cross the creek type hole. But the terrain here is steeper than on some other holes of that type on this course, and in fact the terrain near the basket you see up ahead is some of the steepest terrain on this entire course. Also as a reminder, I do not make any monetary compensation for anything I do for this project, and therefore all I get for doing these walkabouts and videos are your likes, your subscribes, your views, and your comments, and I do appreciate all of those things. That's the end of the front 9. I will see you on the back 9. Have a great afternoon, take care, and Lord bless.